Hello, Aries. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Aries is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Aries, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And you start off with the Devil card. Don't freak out. This is a very good card. I know the Devil gets a bad rap, right? This is a card of drive. This is a card of motivation. It kind of is a card that's asking you the question, why are you seeking what you're seeking right now? This card talks about the three different drives. You know, the pleasure drive, of course, the very obvious meaning of the Devil energy, which is someone who is just, kind of tempted by gratification and pleasure and is out seeking that kind of thing, There's also the aggressive drive. This is that part of us that wants to push in on the world and make a difference and get their way and have some sort of control, have an influence, have a say in the way the world plays out. And there's also that creative drive, which is the desire to create, to generate something through our efforts, to leave something there for future generations, to improve the quality of life for yourself and others, to alleviate suffering for yourself and others, to make the world a better place than the way we found it, and even to begin creating something that you're not even going to see the end result of. To be able to do something that there's at least a part of it that you're not going to get to witness. Okay? So it's kind of that really long-term, long-distance kind of thinking. Okay? It doesn't mean there is no short-term gratifications, because guess what? That creative drive has to rely on the pleasure drive and the aggressive drive in order to function. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, if there is no gratification, you're probably not going to do it. And if there is no aggressive drive there, you're not going to get out of bed to go do it. Okay? So this Devil card is about all three of those drives and asking you the question, how are they ordered in your life? Because it should be like a pyramid. It should be that the creative drive, the generative drive, is at the top, and the other two, the pleasure drive and the aggressive drive, are subordinate to the creative drive. Yeah. And so this card's asking you, what is driving you right now? This is the engine of the car. This is the engine of the chariot, right? And so it's a big question, what's motivating you? I feel like you're motivated to create. This is the most creative card in the tarot. Let's put it into a little bit of context, okay? Put a yes in the comments if you're still with me and if this is vibing with you. Yeah. So let's keep going. There we have the Ace of Swords, clarity, truth. We have a Knight of Swords. We have an Empress energy. Now the Empress is that ultimate pleasure. The Empress energy is when the pleasure drive is kind of the master. When the pleasure drive is very, very high and the creative drive and the aggressive drive are very, very low, then we don't get out of bed. Okay, and so I feel like you need that pleasure drive, and you have to then augment that with a sense of purpose and truth and clarity, which you have here. So this is really have an awesome set of cards, and of course you have the Death card, which is in a way demonstrating what we just said about there's a part of this that you're not going to witness. And so there's always that aspect. Now, there's a lot that you're going to witness. There's a lot of success that you are going to experience, and the fruits of your labor and all the rewards, yes, you're going to feel those. And it's going to be glorious, okay? But right now, the focus is on that part of it that goes beyond your lifetime. Okay? That you're creating. It's like, it's when, I don't know what as an example, but all these, projects from ancient history that, someone starts, but then, it's not until future generations that it actually gets completed. I don't know if the pyramids were like that or whatever, but I'm sure there was a lot of things that were started in one lifetime but not finished for several lifetimes. Okay, and I'm not saying you're going to have to wait that long, but that this is a consideration of that aspect of your life, sort of the legacy. You're beginning something now that future generations will have to carry on and continue and push forward. That's the idea. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's put the rest of our cards on the table. There we have the 6 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, the 9 of Wands, and more air energy with a Queen of Swords. So I feel like we have the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Okay, so the Knights are looking at the future, the Queens are looking at the past. Okay, so it's basically we're taking this present moment and you're realizing that you're beginning something now. You're getting the kind of bird's eye view of something. You're beginning something now that's going to have a lot of rewards, but you're also, at the same time, creating something that's going to be long-term, lifetimes, generational. Okay, whether it's generational wealth or it's a business that then you're sort of creating, and it's even after you retire and go a different way, it's still going to be there. Okay, even if this is something like literally like having kids, it's something that their kids and their kids' kids and stuff, like you're not going to be around to witness all those future generations, but you're sort of starting something now that's going to exist long after you're gone. And I think that's magic, Let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right here with our little sea turtle friend who still does not have a name. I don't know what to call that sea turtle. Maybe it doesn't need a name, the unnamed sea turtle. But if you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments down below the video. Yeah, let's do it together. Let's exercise our intuition. And as we look around the room here, we do see a really wonderful horizontal axis on the path of the dove, which is where all of our major arcana are. We have the real pleasure. We have the creative drive. And, maybe this is, in a way, we could say this is the pleasure drive. This is the aggressive drive. And then this sort of represents your generative drive, kind of the generational creation that you're involved with. Okay, so you have this nice trio of major arcana energies. And I think that if any one of these weren't in place, things wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't really be doing what you're doing right now. But on top of that, we have a little bit of fire. And the fire seems to be really what we need to focus on right now because it's in the position of the fear, worry, and concern. And I think in a way you might be someone who is kind of concerned that what you want to do in life, it's almost like you feel too old to start doing the thing you want to do. Because you feel like you're going to start it, but then you're never going to get to see the end of it. Because it's already, maybe you're later in life or something like this, or maybe it's the idea that it's going to take lifetimes to complete. And so there's part of us that kind of feels like that's kind of tiring just to think about it, And so I feel like you really need to tap into that sense of purpose, because I guarantee when you claim that purpose, the energy will be there. And I would rather be at the end of my life wishing I had more time to do the thing, to do my purpose, than to sort of run out of steam way before that and say, I don't have a purpose anymore. And then you're just kind of waiting, you're just kind of watching the clock, So I feel like you'd rather burn out than fade away. Yeah. And I think that this is that surge of energy that you really need. And it could be that you're about to begin something very significant in your life. And you need the reassurance that, your vitality, your energy will be there, This is something that will give you energy. It's going to require energy, but it gives you energy too. This is almost like the perpetual motion machine, you know? I think that this is an infinite power supply. When you're connected with purpose, your energy will rise to the occasion. Yeah. Hit that subscribe button, please. So we have that fire. We have water up here. We have air, 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 and air, and a little bit of earth. Now, because we have a single earth and a single fire, we can talk about that fire to earth electrical circuit of creation, right? Fire to earth, the strength to put in the work, right? Really to cause change. And so the Five of Pentacles is you using your drive, the engine of your car, to travel the road in front of you. And the five is all about change, changing your environment, changing your world. This is your creative energy. You're leaving a mark on the universe. You're putting a dent in the universe, right? Shout out to Chris Reck. You're making a difference. You're doing something meaningful. You're doing something that is of value, whether you're starting a business, a family, whether this is at home, at work, at school, it doesn't matter. Maybe you are planting a garden. Maybe you're planting a tree, the seed of a tree that takes 100 years to grow. We're probably not going to be around to see it. Maybe you will be. But maybe not, you know, it doesn't matter. Is that a reason to not do it? No, because you're going to witness and enjoy as much of it as you can. And then whoever comes after you will be there to take care of it, to continue to take care of it and to witness it. Okay. And I feel like this is a big revelation for you in terms of your Ace of Swords, like this truth, like you're ready to claim this purpose. You're kind of surrendering and trusting this idea, this download that's coming to you. This Ace of Swords is the clarity and the truth about what you're driven to do. And I think when we asked at the beginning, what drives you, what motivates you, I think this Ace of Swords here is your answer. That you're driven by the need to create something that the future will enjoy as well, right? Again, you're going to enjoy it now. You're going to reap the rewards. You're going to feel it. It's going to be good. It's going to be gratifying, but it's also for the future. So the Ace of Swords is that clarity, and I think you've received a spiritual download. I think this is a moment of enlightenment where you kind of were hit with a bolt of lightning and your whole body kind of surged and you said, I know what this is. I know what I want to do. I know what my mission in life is. You see, the Ace of Swords is like a little antenna on the top of your head that's receiving the signal from the universe. Okay? It's a receptive card, this one. And you can see that the tip of the sword is piercing the veil and is really out in outer space. It's like you've raised the antenna and you're able to receive that, the divine light, the cosmic rays, the spiritual download, you know. It's coming into your mind. And you can tell because the yellow part of the card is the chaos of the mind, right? The thinking part of us, the part that is, it kind of doesn't ever stop, right? Even when you're sleeping, you're thinking. And so the clarity comes from transcending all of that thought, the realm of thought, transcending that and tapping into that cosmic energy of silence and stillness and receiving that information, that clarity, that certainty, okay, that wisdom. It's gnosis. It's exactly that. It's gnosis. Okay, and I think it gives you truth beyond the shadow of a doubt. And it comes down into your mind, and guess what it becomes? A Six of Swords. It becomes a plan. It becomes a divine blueprint that then you have to give it flesh. Yeah. And that, of course, the flesh is the Five of Pentacles. That's you giving flesh to your plan here. Okay, this is the skeleton. This is the blueprint. This is you nailing the boards together. So I think there's a real inspiration here. And that's the Ace of Swords. And now this is kind of a card that's asking you to formulate your will in the shortest possible mission statement. If you could reduce it to one word or one number, it would be ideal. But it's like, you know, try to figure out what it is your purpose is in life right now at least, in one sentence, as simple or even as kind of general as possible. Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's, feeding, right? Maybe you're doing something with food. You're going to try to, you're making a restaurant, or you're doing some kind of a food bank, food charity type of stuff. I feel like you do something with food. Yeah, I feel like it. Maybe I'm just hungry. But it's kind of like, to have that, like a company has like their mission statement, and that's kind of like what everything has to fall underneath that umbrella. And that's kind of the go-to. When we kind of lose our way, we can think back, or we can look at the mission statement like written on the wall and read it and say, oh, okay, I know now. I remember now. And it becomes the basis for all of our choices. Everything you're going to do, you're going to relate it back to this mission statement, and you're going to say, okay, yeah, that's in harmony, that's in alignment with my mission statement, your spiritual kind of mission statement. Okay? And it doesn't really matter what you're doing. What matters is how and why. Yeah. Leave a comment if you know your mission statement. Leave it in the comments in 1 or 2 words, or just a few words. Let's keep it 10 words or less, Now, under the surface, you have a Knight of Swords. Okay, the Knight of Swords is trying to figure out how to begin something. And so I feel like this is a time where you are trying to formulate a lot of the plans. You're looking into the future. And see, all the knights are looking in the future, right? Trying to figure out, should I start something? How do I begin? How do I process the beginning? How do I get something going? And sometimes when you look into the future, you see, what's the end of the swords? The 10 of Swords, right? You kind of, you're able to look into the future and realize that what you're doing may not be completed in your lifetime. That's sobering, right? And what you're doing may completely turn to dust at some point. Whatever you're building on in the physical plane, right? And that's kind of, these two positions in the Dove and Serpent spread are very well connected. And so you're looking forward at the material aspect of this and thinking, well, eventually it's gonna crumble to dust. You're building a house, and then at some point it's gonna, in 1,000 years, it's not gonna be there anymore, right? And maybe it will be, I don't know. But kind of looking and seeing that the creative act is not necessarily dependent upon the physical manifestation of something. Okay? Sometimes we create just because we want to create. It's like the painter who then will burn every painting that they paint. Doesn't let anybody see it, doesn't even take a picture of it, just burns it, throws it away, or wipes it off. It's like my daughter with her, she has these little drawing boards, and just like a white dry erase. And she'll draw a picture, she'll write some words, and then she'll just erase it. And it's just like, well, I want to save that forever, And she says, no, I'm erasing it. And so it's kind of like that, yeah. But I think that this primarily is that part of you inside that's trying to figure out, what are the first steps that I need to take? Yeah. What is it that we can do today to get the ball rolling? We need to start we need to flesh out the plan. We need to fill in the gaps and really figure out how to get moving. What's the first step? Really, yeah. Trying to trace as many steps as we can, but understanding that the last step, the final step, is everything returns to nothingness. Everything returns to zero. Everything returns to the unmanifest. Everything gets absorbed back into the absolute at the end. And that maybe we're thinking too far ahead. Let's reverse engineer that a little bit and think, what can I do today to get this process going? So I think you're somebody who is formulating that plan. I really do think it's time for action now. I think it's time that we accept the plan, we accept the mission, and we formulate the plan the best that we can, and we move forward. So we really need that fire energy, okay? In the background, the Empress energy in the background. Sometimes the Empress in the background is like your warm bed that just like it doesn't want you to leave, And so, it makes me wonder if there was if there's kind of a comfort that you feel in life that it makes it difficult to kind of to want to get up and go out into the dark, scary forest. It's when we're too comfortable in life, it makes it difficult for us to go out and do hard things. But I think you're somebody that, you play hard and then you work hard. I think that you really enjoy your creature comforts, but then you know how to like rough it too, you know? You know how to like do like real camping, not like king size bed, water bed type of camping, you know, full electricity and full kitchen and bathroom type of camping. Is that camping? I don't know. But you do like, you know, sleeping bag on the ground by the fire under the stars kind of camping. You know how to like live in both worlds. Yeah. And so I feel like maybe it's even a practice for you where every once in a while, every year or something, like you go and do something really hard. Like you'll go on a hike or a backpacking trip or something and really like, you know, boil your water every morning and like, you know, go walk a mile for firewood kind of thing. And then the rest of the year you kind of live in comfort. You like to have your, you know, your hot chocolate and your toasty blankets and your slippers, you know. And I think that's very important, that you know how to enjoy, you know how to feel good. You know what pleasure and luxury really are. And even like it forms an appreciation for that kind of stuff. When we're willing to go out and do the hard thing and kind of lower the priority of the pleasure drive. You know, because I think the pleasure drive, in a lot of ways, kind of rules our world these days, you know? Just kind of generally speaking. And I think that it's important to every once in a while lower the priority of that and raise the priority of, I got to do something that's going to be meaningful. I got to do something that's going to be lasting. I got to find a way to allow the pleasure drive to be of service to that higher creative drive. Okay? And, well, that's exactly what we're doing on the horizontal path. So I think this is a very creative act for you. And I don't know exactly what you're creating. It doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is that you're bringing yourself out of your comfort. Because just looking at these cards, the Empress is very sensual, very luxurious, very seductive, right? It's tempting to just want to stay here. The bed is so warm and cozy, you don't want to leave the bed. But you do, because you're in service to something that goes beyond your human life and your ego, right? And so you're willing to enter into discomfort, enter into the dark, scary forest, really, and do something that is challenging to you. Do something that is kind of meant for someone else, even in a way. Okay, and there is a connection with the Empress and a maternal energy for you. Okay, and I feel that part of this is, I think you grew up in a household where you were taught the true meaning of sacrifice, you know, of really being in service to something that's outside of you. Like maybe your mom was a really giving, really like selfless person. Because I feel that you understand that there's a deep significance and a satisfaction and a deep meaning in devoting your life to something. Okay? And so I think that like kind of making sacred your effort, your blood, sweat, and tears that you put into something, making that really worthwhile, sacrificing for a purpose. Okay? Yeah. Anyway, up above the surface is a Queen of Cups, and the queens are looking at the past. Okay, so kind of processing and ending, and I think, you know, this is like this is someone that's about to go on one of those really austere backpacking trips where you're going to really rough it. You're really going to like hike for your firewood and boil your water every day, and this is kind of like saying our goodbyes to our comfortable bed, you know, and this is a slow, lingering kind of energy. The queens are all about how we process something ending. And the Queen of Cups is taking a long time to process something because it really has affected them emotionally. This is something that I think you're emotionally preparing for. Yeah. And kind of saying our goodbyes to our warm, comfortable bed as we move into this future of, it's kind of like, all the fun and games are over now, and maybe you're moving into a period of just intense creative work, or maybe it's physical health, maybe it's fitness, maybe you're moving into a period of financial devotion and work, where you're gonna you got to cut down on your spending. It's the way I look at it. Is the Empress there is like, for me anyway, this is like I treat myself with all the food I want, I eat all the decadent dishes that I like, and I have the ice cream, and it really just abundant, and then this is me realizing that, okay, well, you know what, that free for all kind of thing, that's over. All that comfort, all that luxury, all of that sensual delight is kind of, I have to end that phase. I've got to go into a period of, kind of lowering my intake, cutting down on the salt and sugar, getting more physical activity. Like it's time to make that transition now. And I really go through, for me personally, I go through those phases where for, a couple of months, I will just be eating everything in sight. And then I'll kind of say my goodbyes to the ice cream and say, okay, no more ice cream for me for at least like a month or two, And we go into that kind of hardcore effort, yeah. And so this feels like something like that for you. And I don't know if this is something about your physical health or if it's financial. Well, this is where we're just kind of, we see something we like, we buy it, we're spending money, we're getting the $5 coffees, or I don't know, maybe they're $10 now, I don't know. We're buying all those things that we like. This is like the treat yourself card. And this is over now, because now you're really kind of like buckling down, as they say, and you're getting ready to do this very important work. And this might be, again, it might be something very personal. It might be a physical fitness thing. It might be your finances. It might be, okay, this was me. I got to read all the fiction books and watch all the TV I wanted. And now, okay, classes are starting again, and it's going to be study and homework. It's not going to be Netflix and reading all the fiction books or the sci-fi novels and stuff. Like, okay, it's time to really get down to business. You see, so it's that kind of a transition. And the Queen of Cups is kind of processing all the feelings about that, like kind of saying our goodbyes to all that luxury, because it's time for hard work. Okay, yeah. I want you to leave a comment. Put ready in the comments. If you're ready, say ready. Yeah. I want you to claim this reading because I feel like you're ready. I feel that there is a very important task in front of you. And maybe this is your physical health, your finances. Maybe this is you going back to school. Maybe this is like, okay, summer vacation's over. Summer vacation. This is summer vacation. Sleep as late as you want. Stay up late. Do whatever, to have fun. Just enjoy everything you can. It's beautiful. I love summer vacation. Now, time to get back to school, right? And, well, we're going through that too. Our daughter's starting kindergarten in just less than a month, actually. And we're kind of in that transition phase too, where we're preparing her emotionally for eventually we're going back to school. So it's going to be, waking up at 6 and getting to school by 8 and getting home at 3 and all that kind of structure and routine. Well, that's what we got here, right? The plan, the blueprint, the structure, the routine. And so it's kind of like we're all preparing for that. And I think it's time. We don't want it to end. We don't want summertime to end. But at the same time, we know we're creating something. We know we have this mission. And so we do. We know it's time. We know we're ready. Okay? And yeah, and I think that this is going to be a wonderful season for you. I think it's going to be full of abundance, full of very rewarding work, whether it is, a personal thing, something with family or friends, or I don't know what it is. In the future position, you have the Death card. And to me, this is the card kind of like seasons changing. It's the slow transition from one season to the next, you know. This is also the card of the slow and steady change. This is change. It shouldn't even be called the Death card, really. Interesting that you have the Devil and the Death card, two like the scariest cards of the tarot, yeah? But you're Aries, you can handle it, you know. It's called Death to get your attention. It really should be called change or rebirth or growth or transformation or metamorphosis or something like this. Evolution, yeah. Because it's kind of saying that, like, you know, we, as much as we want to linger in that endless summer, we can't. Life goes on. The seasons change. The world continues moving forward, and we are going to continue to grow, and we have to continue. We have to be flowing in tandem with the process of change. This is the fundamental force of the universe, change. It is the nature of nature, right? It's the nature of the universe, and we're part of that universe. So this is the inevitability thing, saying like, things are going to change. There is no such thing as an endless summer. Eventually it comes to an end. And I think you're preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for that, right? Emotionally saying our goodbyes, mentally preparing for the changes that are going to take place in the work that you're going to be doing. Okay? Please drop a comment if this resonates. Yeah. How about you leave a comment for this Death card? Instead of death, put rebirth. Claiming this rebirth energy, you know? And, you know, in a way it's very simple death, you know? Going from the summertime that we hoped would never end to now the realization that it's ending and we're transitioning into the next season. And to step into that season. Okay, being reborn into that it's a new mindset, it's a shift in perspective, it's a shift in priorities, it's a shift in your schedule, right? It's a shift in a lot of things. And so it feels like, yeah, it's like kind of, you know, here where we live, where we have really hot summers and really cold winters. And, you know, the in-between seasons where we transition from summer to winter. And it's kind of like, you know, by the time winter hits, I forget who I was in the summertime. I forget what it's like to be like summertime Paul, you know? And now, right now, it's summertime Paul. I forget what wintertime Paul's all about. I forget what my priorities are, or what my interests are, or what feels good and what the work is for me. But it's those kinds of seasons, and I think that, you know, we are continuing to evolve through this work. Every season that passes, every transition, every time we kind of say goodbye to the previous season. And, you know, that's kind of what autumn is, right? It's the kind of the long, slow goodbye to summer as we prepare for winter. It's a transitional season, yeah. And that's kind of what we're stepping into, is this transition where we know we're going to have to emotionally process the ending and mentally prepare for the new work that's coming. Now, I'd love to hear your interpretation of this message, so leave me some comments and hit the like button. I promise something great will happen to you. You hit that like button, okay? Path of the Serpent, we're going to talk about these cards. Six of Swords, your general energy. A new routine, a new plan, a new pathway, a new blueprint. Okay, I think you're somebody that likes to have some kind of structure. You like the wild frenzy of summer, but you also like the sort of planning and the transitional, like kind of, you know, you're sort of formulating the business plan. You're kind of putting together your checklists and your spreadsheets for the new year. Maybe this is something financial for you, right? And it doesn't have to be literally like the seasons of the year, right? It doesn't have to be like summer and, you know, and autumn and winter and spring again. This can be like an intentional season, saying, okay, I've been spending too much money. This is an intentional transition it's a new season for me personally, and I got to stop spending so much money because I got to save some money because I got bills, you know? And so this is you then really getting stoked, really getting motivated and saying, I'm going to get the budget out, I'm going to get the spreadsheets, I'm going to start tracking everything. Maybe you find an app or something on your phone that can help you to kind of, you know, keep an eye on things, and you're having fun doing it. And I don't know, I like that. I'm not good at math or anything. I like having spreadsheets, and you should see our spreadsheet, right? It's got everything in there, and it's just colored up differently and stuff. I don't think it looks all that nice. because I'm not that artistic, but to me, it's like, I love it. I love seeing all that data there. I love kind of having a plan. I have a checklist of things that I got to do every month and really every day. And it's, it's a plan to get out of debt and to kind of just our plan for our family for the next year. And I feel like it's motivating for you to do that too. It's motivating for you to see the plan for your own productivity, okay? And that's the Six of Swords. And I think that inspiration comes down from above, from your truest self, your highest self, God, Goddess, Deity, from the universe. It's a spiritual download. And I think that this really is that moment of inspiration where there's something in you that says, it's time to start doing this. If this is physical fitness or something, right? This is me eating all the ice cream. This is that moment that aha moment, that lightning bolt of inspiration where I just say, I'm done with this. I'm transitioning into a different season now, and then I get rid of all the ice cream, or I give it away, or I just eat it all real quick so it's gone, and then we sort of reformulate our life. We shift things around in order to prepare for that, and then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to get some different clothes that I can exercise in. I'm going to readjust my schedule so I make sure I have that block of time for, to ride the recumbent bike. Remember a few months ago I was riding the recumbent bike every day? I kind of stopped, kind of faded out of that season, and now I'm getting back into that season again. I'm saying it's time to start doing that, yeah? So we're making that transition. And I think for you, it's it's a slow process. You like to get everything kind of, and I know that's a little kind of counterintuitive for an Aries person, right? It was usually with the Aries, it's like you want to start something quick. You transition quickly, right? I think that may be a misnomer, yeah, for Aries. Because this is that, right now at least, it's that energy of having the plan. And maybe that's the message here. Maybe you have everything is set up, but what we need is that spark. What you need is that inspiration that says, start doing it now. Okay. In the Five of Pentacles here in the environment, this is the restructuring of your life and the moving things around, literally getting your supplies and getting your materials in order. This is, a card of changing the physical environment. So maybe it is you're trying to change your physical self, your body, or you're trying to change your finances, or you're kind of getting back to those projects around the house that you need to do, that you've been enjoying some time off with that Empress energy, and now it's time to get back to these projects, these repairs, or these upgrades, or something like that. Okay, and I think that really that Ace of Swords is Spirit's screaming at you. I don't know, I feel like your guides are saying it's time to get inspired, it's time to get back to these things, to changing these things, and to start moving the physical world again. Yeah. Start making some changes in the physical environment and health, wealth, fitness, finances, all that stuff kind of roped in together. Okay. And this kind of feels like, it feels like it feels like a move, really. Kind of feels like, I don't know if you're moving houses or something, or it's I feel like this is you kind of collecting things, almost like you're filling up your wagon with a bunch of gardening tools, and then you're going to take it out to the garden. You're saying, today's the day I'm going to do it. I'm going to plant all this stuff, or I'm going to, whatever it is. So this is that change. This is the physical component of that change. Okay, because we have the force of change here, and this is literally the earth moving around you, your body moving, and the soil around you moving. The physical elements are shifting and realigning. So you may be rearranging things in your life. Okay, I think you're trying to rearrange life so it matches your schedule. This outline or this plan, right? This is the budget. This is your actual spending, okay? And so you're trying to harmonize. You're trying to harmonize. You want a 6 and a 6, yeah? Maybe the mystery card will be the 6 of Pentacles. But in the position of the fear, worry, and concern, this is strength, resilience, this is energy. And sometimes it's difficult to get out of, when you've been in bed too long, and it's kind of, you get up, it's really difficult to kind of like, to get your energy up, to get your body like warmed up and to really like feel energized. I think that's what we need right now is we need that spark. I think this is that spark. This is that air that's coming in to stoke your fire, to get you fired up, to get you motivated. Yeah, get you motivated. Let me know in the comments what part of this reading is really hitting you the hardest, okay? This is that breath of fresh air, that inspiration from the universe that I feel like is the same as saying like when you are connected with a purpose, your energy is going to rise to the occasion, okay? So when you get inspired, you find something that, I don't know, it's just like you'll come across, you'll hear something or you'll see something or, you'll think a certain thought in a certain combination. It's like a magic word. There's some magic word that's happening that's just like you drop your spoon, your eyes go wide, and you say, now's the time, I gotta start. And maybe you hear some random thing on some commercial on TV or something, and you're like, today's the day, I gotta get up, I gotta go do it right now. It could be 2 a.m, and you get up and you get your gardening tools, and it's that kind of an inspiration. And I feel like sometimes that comes in just like one word or one phrase or one sign or symbol or one synchronicity. One gesture from the universe feels like a bolt of lightning. It gives you that sense of like now. It gives you that awareness. Yeah. If you know what that was for you or what that is, put that in the comments. Yeah. I'm interested in you. I want to hear from you. So this is that power, that strength, and that resilience. This is the willpower. And I kind of feel like without this is all really interesting, but it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't do anything. So this still, in this kind of position, it's all air, 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 water, air. It kind of just, it stays in the realm of like, I'm just thinking about all of this. I'm not actually doing it. So we need the fire because that is like the surge of energy that's going to move your body, literally like to move your muscles, And so I feel like we really need this surge of energy. You need that inner strength that just says we're getting up and we're starting this thing and we're creating this and we're driven forward. Yeah. And, the Queen of Swords at the end here. Queen of Swords is getting the bird's eye view, right? The Queen of Swords is, to me in a way, kind of is like your future self because the queens are looking at the past. The queens are kind of, taking a big bird's eye view of life and primarily looking at this long history of yours and really, I think, seeing how your choices have molded your life. Yeah, because, this death card, it seems like this is just life goes on. There's nothing we can do about it. Okay, the force of change, the fundamental force, the nature of nature. Things change and we're just kind of along for the ride, yeah? When you have your strong fire energy, your creative will and your driving force, your creative drive, pleasure drive, aggressive drive, you actually nudge the river. Okay? And so it's not so much you just reacting to the universe. It's you and the universe co-creating your destiny. You're a magic maker. Okay? And so this card, I believe, is you, in retrospect, realizing that your life is becoming what it is because you're shaping it. The universe is doing it. I mean, the universe is that flow of energy, but you're able to kind of nudge the river a little bit. And you're able to help mold and shape your future self, your future life. Claim your role as a magic maker in the comments right now, okay? And this is that recognition. This is your future self looking back and thinking, yeah, I helped to create this. Like this is something that you have a hand in, molding and shaping your life. Okay. And And I think that this is also that kind of, that bird's eye view, that objective viewpoint that is saying, my role in the universe is limited. That it's like, life is like kind of like a relay race, that you do your sprint, you pass the torch to somebody else, and you hope that they do their best, and that's all you can do. Because your time is done. So it's like once we pass on to a higher plane, or transition into spirit, right? We're just leaving this material plane behind, mostly, okay? And I don't want to get into the debate about, the afterlife and that sort of thing. But it feels as if, at least in the physical dimension, we're passing the torch on to whatever's coming next. Because we're transcending to a higher plane, a higher vibration, a different realm, whatever, a higher dimension. And our work on this physical plane is left unfinished. That's just the way it is. Yeah. So I think that this is kind of like that part of us that really wants to predict the future, wants to see the past, and then if we understand the past, we can sort of project the future. We can see how things might go. And so I think that it's like, you have this plan or this vision of life that extends beyond you, whether it's through your kids or the business that you're creating or whatever, just the rest of the world generally. And kind of believing that like the world's going to carry on your work in some way, maybe not directly, maybe not like literally or locally, but I think that your contribution to the world is it's gonna ripple off into the future, even long after you're gone. The things that you're doing are making a difference. And your efforts here and your commitment and your rallying yourself to the new season is making a difference, even into the distant future, long after we are gone. I want to look at the mystery card. I kind of expect it to be an Empress again. I kind of feel like that's, eventually transitioning back into that summer season, If you have a prediction for this card, I want you to put it in the comments down below the video. Okay. Let's see what we have. Oh, it's the world. Yeah, of course it's the world. Because the world is infinite. The world is past, present, and future. The world is, this is the entire world. It's literally everything that's outside of you. There's no difference between you and the world. But we, from our perception, our point of view, it seems like there's us, and then there's everything else. This is everything that's not you, okay? And we know there's no difference between you and the universe, but in this human form, we have that illusion of separation. I feel like I'm separate from that, my skin kind of is the boundary between me and everything else that exists, okay? I feel like this is also the realization that we're all a part of this larger organism. We are all like individual cells in the body of the universe. And we have our contribution, and then we're gone. And our contribution is essential. It is required. We have a mission, we have a function, like the cells in our body. They exist for a time, they do what they're supposed to do, and then they're programmed really to to expire at a certain time. In the DNA, they're programmed to blink out of existence at just the right time. And I think that, if we view ourselves in that way, we're not going to fear death. We're going to see death as the kind of crowning achievement for a life that's well lived. Yeah. And not trying to be morbid or anything, but to realize that what we do is essential. And if we have that view of death and of our wholeness or our oneness or our unity as a cell in the body of the universe, then I think we take our lives more seriously. And we're in service to something that's outside of us. Everything that's outside of us, right? And so, the cell in your body, what if that cell just said, I don't want to do my work. I don't want to do what I'm meant to do. I don't want to, I don't want to follow the rules. I don't want to do what I'm meant to do. And it kind of goes rogue, right? A rogue cell. That's a free radical, right? It's a cell that says, I don't want to follow my divine path, my destiny. And it refuses to do so. And then it creates havoc in our bodies, right? Free radicals, no good. And well, it's kind of like that, And I think we're trying to live in harmony with the process of change, living in harmony, being in service to the larger universe. And realize that we all have our destiny and our roles to play and our sort of, our spiritual DNA that has to unfold. Yeah. And anyway, I think that this is showing me that you are contributing to the larger universe. You're leaving your mark. You're making your dent on the universe, yeah. And I think this is the ultimate earth energy, right? Fire to earth, and the fire is, of course, you, and the earth is everything else. And you are living in harmony with your destiny. And it doesn't always, we're not always in harmony, right? Life is a process of getting back into harmony most of the time because we fall out of balance. Things happen, we fall out of balance, and we strive to return to that balance and return to harmony. Type harmony in the comments for me, yeah? We're going to do an extended reading. I know this is getting kind of long. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below in the video description. New readings for Aries usually on Wednesdays and Sundays. This is a bonus reading because I feel like you needed this this push. You needed this this inspiration. Okay? We're looking for that bolt of lightning that just says, now's the time to get going. Anyway, be sure to watch your other readings, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, leave a comment, and let me know where in the world you are watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you, and we are all in this together.